You know what's strange? It's not the betrayal that hurts the most. It's the trust you gave, the belief that they were different, that they wouldn't hurt you the way others did. But then they did, didn't they? They took your kindness, your loyalty, and they used it against you. They thought you'd forgive them. They thought you'd move on like nothing happened, that you'd be the one to bridge the gap they created. But they didn't understand who they were dealing with. Mercy? Mercy ended the day they betrayed you. It ended the moment they decided their lies, their selfishness, their disrespect were worth more than the bond you shared. They thought you'd stay the same, that you'd still be there to clean up the mess they made. But you didn't. They didn't realize they weren't just losing your trust, they were creating someone who no longer cared for their excuses, their apologies, or their promises. They were creating someone stronger, someone who doesn't waste time on people who never deserved it. They thought they'd walk away unscathed, but they'll feel the weight of their choices in the silence you left behind. Because mercy isn't infinite, and yours ran out the moment they showed their true colors. Mercy ended the day they betrayed you, and now they'll live with the consequences. It didn't happen all at once, did it? Betrayal never does. It starts small, almost unnoticeable. A lie here, a broken promise there. At first, you brush it off. You convince yourself it's nothing, that they didn't mean it, that everyone makes mistakes. But then it grows. The little lies become bigger. The trust you once had begins to crack. You start to notice things you wish you didn't. The way their words don't match their actions. The way their loyalty seems to disappear when it matters most. And yet, you still hold on. You give them chances, more than they deserve. You tell yourself they'll change. You tell yourself it's just a phase, because you cared, because you believed in them. But what do they do with that belief? They take it for granted. They see your kindness, your forgiveness as a weakness. They use it against you. You gave them everything, your time, your trust, your loyalty. And how did they repay you? With lies, with disrespect, with betrayal. They laughed behind your back, thinking you'd never find out. They made excuses, thinking you'd always believe them. They thought they could do whatever they wanted and you'd still be there, picking up the pieces, holding everything together. And when the truth finally came out, it hit you like a storm. The betrayal wasn't just in their actions, it was in the realization that they never valued what you gave them. They never respected it. They never respected you. They thought you'd forgive them. They thought you'd move on, like you always did. They thought they could get away with it, that you'd be too kind, too understanding, too patient to hold them accountable. But this time was different. This time, something changed. Because betrayal has a way of waking you up. It has a way of showing you things you didn't want to see. And what you saw was the truth about who they were, and the truth about who you needed to become. They didn't just hurt you, they forced you to change. They forced you to let go of the person who gave them chance after chance. They forced you to become someone who no longer cared for their excuses, their lies, or their fake apologies. And that person no longer has mercy for them. Because mercy ended the day they betrayed you, and now they'll see exactly what that means. And then you made your choice, not with words, not with anger, but with silence. You didn't scream, you didn't cry, you didn't beg for explanations or try to fix what they broke. You just stopped caring, stopped engaging, stopped giving them the energy they took for granted. At first, they didn't notice. They told themselves your silence was nothing, that it didn't matter. But silence, my friend, is not nothing. Silence is everything. They wanted you to react. They wanted you to fight, to yell, to lose control, because your reaction would have given them power. It would have validated their actions, justified their betrayal. But instead, you gave them the one thing they didn't know how to handle, nothing. You walked away, not out of weakness, but out of strength. And that silence, it started to grow. At first it was just a shadow in their mind, easy to ignore, but as time passed it became louder, heavier, harder to escape. Why aren't they saying anything? Why didn't they fight back? What are they planning? Without your reaction to hold on to, they were left alone with their thoughts. And those thoughts? They became their punishment. Your silence wasn't surrender. It wasn't giving up. It was control. It was a message, clear and loud, that said, "You're not worth my time. You're not worth my words. You're not worth my mercy." They didn't understand it at first. People like them thrive on chaos. They need the noise, the drama, the conflict. But when you gave them silence, it flipped the script. It forced them to look at themselves without the distraction of your reaction. And what they saw, it wasn't pretty. Your silence became their mirror, reflecting every lie they told, every promise they broke, every selfish decision they made. And that reflection, it haunted them. Because silence isn't just quiet, it's a void. And in that void, their guilt started to grow. It started to eat away at them, creeping into the corners of their mind, filling every empty space with questions they couldn't answer. They thought they'd walk away unscathed. They thought their betrayal would go unnoticed, their lies forgotten. But now, they're starting to realize the truth. Your silence wasn't an absence, it was a declaration. It was you taking back your power. It was you showing them that you didn't need them, that their actions didn't define you, that you were moving forward while they stayed stuck in their own mess. And while they were drowning in their thoughts, you were thriving. Every day you grew stronger. Every step you took was proof that their betrayal didn't break you, it built you. They expected you to crumble. They expected you to come crawling back, desperate for answers, for closure, for some kind of resolution. But instead you left them to deal with the mess they created. You didn't need to explain yourself. You didn't need to justify your silence, because your silence was enough. And now, every time they think of you, that silence will remind them of what they lost. It will remind them that mercy ended the day they betrayed you. They'll replay every moment, every decision, every word they spoke, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. But the answer isn't in their memories, it's in your silence. Because silence, my friend, isn't weakness. It's power. It's control. It's the one thing they can't fight again. And while they're stuck in their guilt, their regret, their fear, you're free. Free to grow. Free to move forward. Free to become the person they never deserved. Let them sit with their thoughts. Let them wonder. Let them regret. Because your silence has already done more than words ever could. At first they dismissed it. Your silence was easy to ignore. They told themselves it didn't mean anything, that you were too weak to fight back, too broken to respond. It made them feel powerful. They thought they had control. But silence has a way of creeping in. It doesn't disappear. It lingers. It grows. And for them, your silence became impossible to ignore. In their quiet moments, when the noise around them faded, your silence took center stage. It filled the spaces they thought would remain empty. It whispered in the back of their minds, asking the questions they didn't want to answer. Why aren't they saying anything? Why didn't they fight back? What are they planning? At first, they brushed it off. They told themselves they didn't care, but that silence became a mirror, forcing them to confront the things they were trying to forget. It reflected their lies, their betrayal, their selfishness. And that reflection, it wasn't something they wanted to see. They began to replay every word they said, every action they took. They tried to justify it, to convince themselves they were in the right. But those justifications didn't hold up against the weight of your silence. Without your reaction to distract them, they were left with their own thoughts. And those thoughts, they started to unravel them. Because here's the thing about silence, it doesn't fade. It doesn't let them off the hook. It forces them to sit with the consequences of their actions, with no way to escape. And the more they tried to ignore it, the louder it became. Every quiet moment became a reminder of what they'd done, of the trust they'd broken, of the person they'd lost. They thought they could move on, but they couldn't. Your silence followed them everywhere. It was in the back of their minds when they were alone. It was in the pauses of conversations they tried to fill. It was in the empty spaces they couldn't avoid. It wasn't just guilt that haunted them, it was fear. Fear of what you might say, fear of what you might do, fear of the person you were becoming without them. Because silence is not just the absence of words, it's the presence of everything they tried to ignore. And as time went on, that silence became heavier. It wasn't just a reminder, it was a punishment they couldn't escape, no matter how hard they tried. They started to question everything, every choice they made, every lie they told, every betrayal they committed. They began to see the cracks in their own stories, the flaws in their own justifications. Because your silence wasn't just an absence, it was a declaration. It said, "You're not worth my words, you're not worth my energy, you're not worth my mercy." And that truth, it was more than they could handle. They thought they were in control, but now they see the truth. They never had control. Not over you, not over the situation, not even over themselves. Your silence forced them to face their own guilt, their own regret, their own fear. It stripped away the lies they told themselves and left them with nothing but the weight of their own actions. And while they were trapped in their regret, you were free. Free to grow, free to move forward, free to become the person they'll never reach. Because in the end, your silence wasn't weakness, it was power. It was control. It was the one thing they couldn't fight against. And now, they'll live with that silence forever. While they were consumed by guilt, fear, and regret, you were rising. They thought their betrayal would break you, but all it did was set the stage for your transformation. You didn't just survive, you thrived. You took every insult, every lie, every moment of pain, and turned it into something powerful. They thought they were erasing you, but all they did was give you a clean slate to build something stronger. It wasn't easy at first. Betrayal leaves wounds that don't heal overnight, but instead of letting those wounds define you, you used them as fuel. You took the pain they caused and turned it into strength. You took the doubt they left behind and turned it into clarity. You realized something important. Their actions didn't define you. Their betrayal wasn't a reflection of your worth, it was a reflection of their weakness. And once you understood that, everything changed. You stopped giving them power. You stopped letting their words and actions dictate how you felt. You stopped caring about their opinions, their approval, their apologies. Because you realized something they never understood, you never needed them. Your silence wasn't just a response, it was a choice. A choice to protect your peace, to focus on your growth, to move forward without dragging their weight behind you. And with every step you took, you became stronger. Your strength wasn't loud or boastful, it didn't need to be. It was in the quiet confidence you carried, the way you moved forward without looking back. It was in the choices you made, the boundaries you set, the life you started building for yourself. They thought they had the power to destroy you, but now when they see you, they see the truth. You are untouchable. You became smarter, tougher, and more resilient. You learned how to value yourself, how to set boundaries, how to recognize who deserves your energy and who doesn't. And that version of you? It's someone they'll never reach. They thought they'd won. They thought their betrayal would keep you down. But now, when they think of you, all they see is the person you've become. The person who rose above their lies, their games, their petty attempts to control you. Your silence wasn't just an absence, it was a transformation. It was the moment you decided to stop wasting your energy on people who didn't deserve it. It was the moment you chose to take back your power. And now, every step you take forward is proof that they didn't win. They didn't break you. They didn't stop you. They only made you stronger. While they're stuck in the past, haunted by their mistakes, you're living in the present, building a future they'll never be a part of. Your growth isn't just about overcoming them, it's about becoming everything you were meant to be. It's about proving to yourself that no betrayal, no disrespect, no lie can take away your strength. You don't need their validation. You don't need their approval. You don't even need their regret, because you've found something far more valuable yourself. Every success you achieve, every goal you reach, every moment of peace you create, it's all yours. It's a testament to your resilience, your determination, your ability to rise. They'll live with the regret of what they lost, but you'll live with the strength of what you've gained. Keep moving forward. Keep growing. Keep becoming the person you were always meant to be. Let them stay stuck in the shadows of their actions while you rise into the light of your own power. Because in the end, they didn't break you, they built you. And now you are unstoppable. And then it happens. The realization, the regret, the weight of everything they've done finally crashes down on them. At first, they thought they'd won. They thought their actions would leave you broken, stuck in the shadow of what they did. But now, when they see you, the truth hits them like a storm. You didn't crumble. You didn't fall apart. You didn't stay down. You rose. And now, standing before them, is someone they don't even recognize. The person they see now isn't the person they betrayed. You're stronger, calmer, more focused. They thought they could control the outcome, but now they see they were never in control, not of you, not of your story, not of your power. They begin to replay every decision, every word, every moment they thought they could get away with, and in those memories, they realize the depth of their mistake. They thought you'd fight back in anger, that you'd react in a way that would validate their actions, but instead you gave them silence. And that silence, it became their greatest punishment. Now they understand. They see the person you've become, the person they pushed you to be, someone they can't manipulate, can't reach, can't break. They'll try to fix it. They'll try to reach out, to explain, to apologize. But by then it's too late. Your silence has already spoken louder than any words ever could. Every step you've taken forward, every success you've achieved, every moment of peace you've found, it's all a reminder of what they lost. And for the first time, they feel the full weight of their choices. They see the consequences of their actions in the strength you've built. This is the turning point. The moment they realize they didn't just lose you, they created someone who doesn't need them anymore. Someone who has risen far beyond their reach. They'll carry that regret with them forever, knowing that mercy ended the day they betrayed you, and now they'll live with the consequences of what they've done. Here you stand now, stronger than ever before. The person they tried to break no longer exists. What's left is someone they can't touch, someone they'll always regret losing. They thought they were ending your story, but all they did was give you the tools to write a new one. They thought their actions would define you, but instead, they became the foundation for your rise. You don't need their apologies. You don't need their explanations. You don't need their guilt, because what they think, what they feel, no longer matters. You've moved beyond it. Your strength doesn't come from what they did to you. It comes from how you chose to respond. You didn't fight their battles or play their games. You chose something far more powerful. You chose yourself. Every step you've taken away from them, every choice you've made to rebuild your life, has brought you closer to the person you were always meant to be. And that person, they're unstoppable. You've reclaimed your power. You've let go of the weight they tried to place on your shoulders. And now, you're free to grow, to thrive, to create a life they'll never be a part of. This isn't about revenge. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving to yourself that no betrayal, no disrespect, no loss can take away your strength. They'll live with the regret of what they've done. But you'll live with the strength of what you've gained. You've turned their betrayal into a stepping stone, their disrespect into motivation, their actions into fuel for your rise. Let them stay trapped in the shadows of their choices while you rise into the light of your own power. Let their regret be their burden, not yours. Because in the end, they didn't break you, they built you. They forced you to become someone who doesn't need them, someone who can't be shaken by their actions. And now, you are everything they could never be. This is your story now, your strength, your growth, your freedom. So keep rising, my friend. Keep moving forward. Let their regret fuel your success, but let your peace fuel your happiness. Because mercy ended the day they betrayed you, and now your strength will define the rest of your life.